today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
This week's episode of The Rookie felt like one of the OG episodes, and we're discussing it this week on an all-new episode of Shop Talk. We'll discuss 816, but first we have the season 8 finale episode description to discuss. Take it away.
Yeah. So the episode title for the season 8 finale is called The Bandit, and the description reads that the team launches a high-stakes search to take down a notorious criminal. Meanwhile, Lucy's leadership is tested. Wesley tests the boundaries of his friendships, and Nolan tries to balance duty and family. So that'll air May 4th.
It's gonna be a crazy season finale.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we think this notorious criminal is? Because we see the promo for next week and it looks like Monica's on the run. So,
Oh, that's true.
I
Well, see, because I
mean,
was going to say Monica, but then that's right
uh-huh.
because the promo featured her more.
And that's for 817. So, like, it could be
Yeah,
nothing. It could be something. Who knows?
I don't know. Because, like, I mean, are they, because, like, the whole Glasser thing ended with a cliffhanger, technically,
Mm-hmm.
too, but, like, we literally just saw him.
And it's a
I
search.
don't
So,
know.
like, he's not on the run
That's
necessarily.
true. Yeah, I don't know. I have no ideas.
I don't think that they're going to bring back like Oscar or Everett just for this episode. Like, I think it's going to be Monica or Glasser because we're focusing on them in the last like two, three episodes, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'll be interesting. And Wesley testing the boundaries of his friendships has to be with Sean Del Monte. Has to be. Has to be.
Yeah.
But Lucy's leadership being tested, I don't like that. Like, can we
No, I
just
know.
leave her be?
Yeah.
So, and for Nolan, that just sounds like another day for John Nolan. Like, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but it should be interesting. I can't believe that we're already like done with season 8, but feels good to know
Yeah.
that we've got a season 9 in the bag, so
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to stress about that. And then Patrick Kelleher, who we know is Seth Ridley, is like promoting his film Brick. And he's like, trying to get it funded. There's a trailer for what it would look like out. Like he's doing all of this, and so it's really cool to see him like trying to get momentum that way. Um, but also like, not using that he was on the rookie a whole lot. Like he's paving his own way. So it's really cool to see that. So if you're not following him, check out his Instagram, check out YouTube for it. Like it's really cool and everyone should at least just check it out and see it. So but now we'll get right into the episode because there was a lot. So take it away
Yeah.
with the Nolan and Glasser of it all.
Yeah. So, it starts out with you see like a person, we don't know who it is yet, loading a gun. Um, and then it kind of flashes to Malcolm, who's Liam's lawyer. They're on the phone and he hears gunshots and an attempt is made on his life in a drive-by shooting. He doesn't get hit though. The poor postman got hit though, although
Hmm.
he'll be okay. I mean, he was being wheeled into surgery, but anyway. So yeah, there were like, I don't know, 5, 10 shots fired, and he didn't even get grazed or anything. He
No.
managed to like duck behind um like plants or bushes in front of his house. Um, but now the LAPD is tasked with protecting him. So um first, Lucy will take his statement. Tim and John go inside the home to retrieve the bullets that were fired, like through the side of the house, much to Malcolm's objections. Um, and apparently, since we last saw Liam Glasser, his wife is now his ex-wife, so it was Miranda. And then Glasser apparently has a girlfriend named Daisy who was inside the house, who greets John and Tim when they are inside. So that's super fun. Um, yeah. So Nyla drops by Tim's office with a guy from the city who demands that LAPD have like a 24/7 watch over Liam, despite them already being stretched thin. They can't really afford not to protect him, especially since he's, suing the city for 6 million. And if like something were to happen to him, it could potentially like double. Um, of course, John's leading the security protection of Liam. Tim tasked Nyla with finding the shooter. Um, we see like a mini, I don't know, montage, I guess, of
Mm-hmm.
Nyla trying to get in contact with people, but she didn't have any luck so far because everyone hangs up after hearing Liam's name or hearing hers. But Tim comes back with evidence that a 9 millimeter handgun was used, so Nyla like runs with that bit of a lead. Um, it cuts over. We see Nolan and Miles. So we get both of them for now, anyway, escorting Liam and Malcolm to court because he's suing his now ex wife for custody
Mm-hmm.
of their kids. So he just never stops. Something's always going
Yeah.
on with this man. Um, so when they're heading to court, Liam like tries to hug his son Theo, but is reminded by Miranda of the restraining order that's in place. So as in like he doesn't just get to do whatever he wants. Um, and John ends up telling her that someone took a shot at Liam at the house. Um, and she's like obviously like concerned, but at the same time is like doesn't know what to like think
Right.
because he's done so many bad things. It's like, well, it's not that it's expected, but she's not like obviously not like super emotional about it
Mm-hmm.
um and everything given their history. So we see like a little bit of Liam trying to plead his case, to get like custody for their kids. Um, and I mean, it's just like a desperate plea, although I don't know if it's like supposed to be for the character or if it's just Seth Gable, like the actor, but like he does a very good job of like maintaining a monotone
Yeah.
voice. So it doesn't like nothing ever sounds you know, any other way except for like flatline.
Right. I tweeted that
Um,
last night too because I was like, it bothers me how he just stays so casual about things.
yeah,
But that's a good way to put it. He just remains monotone about everything.
yeah. Um, Although then at the same time, it's like he's good at pushing people's buttons, so it's
Hmm.
like he knows how to work the system really
Hmm.
in his favor. And which is funny because well, not funny, but ironic because he even asked John like after his like spiel is done, like, do you think that helped my case? And and John's just like, it's Officer Nolan, and
Yeah.
then he's just like doesn't say anything else. He's like, no.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, but while in court, Theo goes missing, which makes Liam's ex-wife angry because, and she's like freaking out, trying to, wants to find her kid. And John goes off with another officer because Miles is staying with Liam, to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Um, and it turns out that Glasser's girlfriend, Daisy, took Theo for like a break or something. Like they're just sitting on a bench, chilling, and like she's showing him a trick or something. And it's like so random, but like, I don't know. I guess it works to segue into the next part of the storyline, considering that um his ex-wife comes up, like gets the kid.
Hmm.
Um, And as John's like finishing things up, Nyla calls him and says that Miranda was one of the people that actually bought a 9 millimeter handgun. So she's like a suspect now.
Yeah.
Um, so Nyla is questioning her. She insists that she didn't shoot at Liam. She wouldn't put her kids in danger. And she almost like blames Nyla for the situation of like everything that's happened since his arrest and like attempted conviction. Um, but Nyla is, not sympathetic, but she knows how Liam can, like I said earlier, push people's buttons and like get a rise out of you, even when you don't mean to get too involved.
Right.
And so Miranda said that now the court will use this against her in the custody case. Nyla's like, yeah, sure, you could be painted as a crazy woman while, Liam could still, manipulate the system and get off scot-free, but it's like she can only do so much and
Hmm.
like present the case. So it's not like she hopes that people will see through Liam's like facade, but
Yeah.
having her get upset and overreact is not going to help anything either. Um, so we then see, which I didn't really understand, like why this scene was needed, but like Nolan is home talking to
Hmm.
Bailey about how he had to be professional to Glasser while acting like he's not, a serial killer. Um, Bailey knows Liam's luck will run out, and it's like, unfair that John had to protect someone who tried to kill him in reference to the season prior. Um, Not that I didn't mind seeing Bailey, but I just thought it was like kind of like odd because it like flip flopped from like that over to them at home, and I'm like, oh, okay, the day is done. All right. Um,
Yeah. I feel like it was misplaced, but it made sense in a way
yeah,
because the end too, I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's fine. But I actually didn't hate it because I was like, well, okay, we're
mhm,
seeing them and they're not being cringy with it
yeah, it was
really at
normal.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I just thought that I thought it was all going to be on the same day. So like
Uh-huh.
I thought the next time we'd see Miles driving, they'd be like driving home or like to a hotel or like whatever, like safe
Yeah.
spot. But they're just driving back to the courthouse, and Miles is driving in Glasser. Nyla calls Nolan to tell him that it was actually a kid of one of his victims. And so the kid's name is Lance Thomas, whose father was apparently killed by Glasser, who was the one that's going on a rampage to attempt to, um, hurt Liam. Um, Miles pulls off to the curb just as the shooting like started. Um, he unfortunately gets shot in like the shoulder or arm.
Hmm.
Um, and John like basically tells him to stay down, but we don't really see anything else
Yeah.
after that for him. I mean, he's in the background. I know some people had pointed out online that he was like in the background of the hospital scene, but like,
Mm. I
what was
didn't
the
catch
point of
that.
having him? What was the point of having him be the one to like transport Glasser, at
Yeah.
least in like the promo being like the main focus, quote unquote? If
And like,
like,
why have him take a shot to show that
yeah,
someone else took a shot for Glasser, I guess?
yeah, or just that Nolan wasn't the only one that got shot. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a chase that occurs. Like Miles is shot. Nolan tells him to stay down. Um, Lance is chasing Liam through the streets, through the park, and was going to shoot him, but Nolan caught the bullet, thankfully, with a bulletproof vest on, and by like jumping in front of Liam. Um, and we see like Selena was like, saying officer down and like arriving at the scene. Then we also saw like a sort of concerned look on Glasser's face, but I think
Hmm.
that was more just because he was like, you took a bullet for me. And um, John was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
As in, like, he's kind of regretting it now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So um, we see John, like, go to the hospital. Bailey's, like, running around frantic, trying to go find where he is. He's okay, apparently, but he'll be in pain for, like, the next week. Um,
Did you notice how she like shoved or like put pressure on his shoulder or whatever?
yeah,
I was like, yeah. All right, that's that part. I was like, okay, she's humbling him. She's keeping him, kind of within his like,
yeah,
lane there.
yeah. And then she like tightened the blood pressure cuff on
Hmm.
him, and like, made sure they checked for, pneumothorax and like all these like things. The doctor was like, yep, we checked for that. And like he's okay. There was no rib puncture or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, um, in somewhat good news, Bailey will like wait on John hand and foot pretty much and will do everything. Um, we see that in her like bringing like breakfast in bed to him. Um, and even though like that's the nice moment, that's unfortunately not where the episode leaves off because in sort of a cliffhanger moment, Liam's ex and the kids are missing according to the like social services worker who had called Nolan for help because if Miranda didn't show up for her hearing that day, then Glasser would win and get custody. So even
Yeah.
though technically she's now kidnapped her own children, um, yeah, things aren't looking good now.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Glasser's behind like everything. I don't know why. I just feel like he is. Like he's always trying to make himself look like the better guy. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Not saying that like he did anything so that Miranda and the kids are missing, but like I don't know. It just seems all too coincidental for me with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he avoids bullets 3 times
Yeah.
and is still somehow like just nonchalant about it and like monotone. It just
Mm-hmm.
seems weird to me. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree with all the Miles stuff. Is like, why did they have him take the bullet when we
Yeah.
weren't even gonna follow back up on that? Like, obviously it was fine. He was in the arm. It was fine. But
Yeah.
for then Nolan to be like, stay here. I'm like, well, yeah, he just got shot. He's got blood. He's not going anywhere. But also,
Yeah.
like, can he call for help? Like, or, was the wind kicked out of him? Like, I mean, this
Yeah.
guy's like on the ground and he's the only police officer there. Like, I
Yeah.
guess you have to do what you have to do, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed weird to me.
Yeah. I mean, because like the promo made it seem like it was like just Miles and like
Hmm.
not Nolan like heading up the detail.
Yeah.
So it's like I get it and I get why it wasn't, Nyla because she couldn't really go near him given the um, trouble she got in
Hmm.
earlier in the season. But it's like I don't know. Because then at the same time, like Tim kind of was the one that was like, I bet it's someone's like family member or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said that, like 15 minutes in the episode or something, and it ended up being right. So I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't know how that all somehow leads back to John
Yeah. I
in the
know.
end.
Yeah. Um, I also like I wasn't a huge fan, and I've said this before, but I wasn't a huge fan how they made this one seem like Glasser or John was Glasser's victim. Like yes, John was, but like this whole thing started with Nyla.
Right.
Okay, okay, like yeah, granted Nyla can't go around him, like we get that. But now we're throwing John Nolan into the mix and why? Like it just here we go yet again, making like putting all of these criminals and these baddies to then somehow rope in John Nolan. Like I get it, he's the only P2 officer, whatever. Like maybe Lucy couldn't, Tim can't. Like, okay, I get that. But at the same time, why does it just have to always be John Nolan? Like I just want to know, because it is with Monica and Glasser and it was with Rosalind and it's like all right. Well, these bad guys end up starting off with someone totally different. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even like Oscar for crying out loud, like with Wesley. And now we don't even
Mm-hmm.
see like
That's true.
Wesley deal with it in any way. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of odd to me, but I get it. He's the main character and like, I get that, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just weird to me. But so next we have Wesley and Sean, or as our friend Rachel has dubbed them, Cecily, and Angela, Lucy, and Selena. So it's Wesley and Sean's first day working together at their new firm. Their office building was condemned though. The one with the Ethiopian restaurant. And so their current office is Wopez's kitchen table. And I love how Sean Del Monte like has a truck in his hand and he's like, yeah, this is gonna go great if we,
Right.
get some clients. Otherwise, we're just two dudes drinking coffee at your house. And I'm like, yeah, that's so true though. But also like I like this for them. Like I like how it's not a regimented, like we have to go into the office every single day. Like, it's an
Yeah.
office with two desks. Like I like that we get to kind of see them influx a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
I just think it's funny how they're still wearing like, two three-piece suits and
yeah,
sitting
yeah,
at the kitchen table.
yeah. I feel like they have to though, just like in case they get a call and like they have to go somewhere, obviously. But it is
Yeah.
funny. It is for sure. Because they at this point don't have clients yet. So it's like
Yeah.
why? But also dress for the job you want, I guess. So, they're just trying to like
Yeah.
prop themselves up. And Sean's like, I'm sure Angela's not happy about this. And Wesley's like, no, she actually threatened me with a slow and painful death if we're not out of here by Thursday. And I'm like, okay, wait, Thursday, is that like her day off? And she's like, I don't want to be talked to. I just want to like rot, lay and rot. Cause like honestly, same.
Yeah.
So Wesley gets called, suggests that it could be a new client because Wesley's like trying to stay positive with all of this. And he's like, we can be lawyers anywhere.
Mhm.
And he's like, this could be a new client, but Sean's skeptical. And it is. Monica referred him to Wesley. The guy's in a
Yeah.
jam saying he's got $50,000 and Sean and Wesley are all ears, right? Because they need the money, they need the client. And so Wesley puts the phone on speaker so that they can both hear his legal liability. And he's like, I don't want to talk over the phone, tells them to meet them at his house. And he's like, oh, yeah, the cops might swing by too. This guy's like all over the place. So they're going over there. But first, Wesley calls Monica, who's immediately like, you're welcome when she answers. And I'm like, Monica just is smug about everything. And so she tells him that Ethan McAvoy made a fortune at the dawn of the internet and hasn't done much of anything since, but spent his fortune on bad lifestyle choices. So in her words, he's a dream client, always getting into some kind of trouble, laughing at, laughing that sometimes he forgets that he's already paid and sends a duplicate check. And Wesley's like, which you return promptly, then of course. Um, and Angela and Nyla we go over to them. They're looking for a missing person named Daniel Gordon, who went to a party in the hills the night before and didn't return. And Nyla's like, he could just be sleeping it off. But we find out that Daniel's brother went to the party house himself at 6 a.m. and found the front door open and the house empty. There was blood in the primary bedroom and the chairs with restraints. So, like, something's went on. So Wesley and Sean pull up to the house to meet with Ethan, who we find out was the one who threw the party in the hills with 100 of his closest friends, and he doesn't remember most of it. He's
Mhm.
also high, so that is great. But he mentions that he got a call from the brother of one of his guests, a guest that he barely knows. So not only is it with 100 of his closest friends, but like he also doesn't really know these guests either. So it turns out that this particular guest didn't make it home. Ethan knows the last time that he saw Daniel was at the party and everything was chill. And he was still there when Ethan left at like 2 a.m. So Sean asks if Daniel's ever been inside this house and the one that they're currently in, and Ethan's like, no, I barely know him. And so Ethan's like, there's nothing that the cops would find if they show up with a warrant. And Sean suggests putting on some fresh clothes and not being high as a kite. I loved the way that Sean like had said this. He was like, at this point, I don't give any, like, I don't care. And so Ethan goes to get cleaned up. He opens a tiny closet by the front door looking for a bathroom, and he's like, oops, that's not it. You would think I would not have one around because there's like 19 here or whatever. So when he does go to the bathroom, he opens the door to find a dead body in there. which gets Sean and Wesley's attention, and they start walking towards the bathroom, but Ethan's like, remind me of the rules legally. And he asks in a whisper, he's like, if I see a dead body, do I have to tell somebody? And Sean's like, is there a dead body in your bathroom? Like he's so over this.
Yeah.
And Ethan's like, I think you should answer my question first. And Wesley's like, okay, yeah, hypothetically, yeah, if there was someone in there, would calling 911 for medical attention be of any benefit to them at all? And Ethan's like, no. He says that pretty confidently. And so Sean pulls Wesley aside, asking them what they're doing there. And Wesley's like, listen, if we don't know what's in the bathroom, we have nothing to say to the police. But Sean's not comfortable with this, and neither is Wesley. And Wes is like, this is the job though. Like, we have to. And the duty is to help the client. And the law is crystal clear, bringing up the people versus Meredith and, like, the exception to attorney-client privilege. And so a motion sensor alarm goes off. So Wesley peeks through the blinds to see the police pulling up. I loved how he, like, chuckled. He was like, huh, okay, like, this is what's happening now.
Yeah.
And we see Lucy, Selena, and Angela like get out and everything. And Angela's like, why is my husband's car here? Like immediately that's the first thing she's saying. So
Yep.
Wesley walks out, tells Angela that Sean and him signed their first client. And I loved that he was also like, yay, like win for us. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
Wesley is just trying to always see the positive in it. Like this
Yep.
man, yeah. So Angela, Lucy, and Selena all need to talk to Ethan about the party that he threw, and Wesley's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. And so he reminds Angela that she knows how this works. Ethan's exercising his Fifth Amendment right to prevent self-incrimination. Wopez bickers. It's very reminiscent of like the first time that they met with Jackson there. And I
Yeah.
ate it all up. And so Selena and Lucy mention what they found, and Wesley mentions the fact that like it's circumstantial and irrelevant, and they don't have a search warrant to enter the house. So Angela leaves, and she's like, we'll be back. And Wesley's like, I look forward to that, like in his little sarcastic, like happy tone. I'm like, give this man more lines and like more storylines, please, because he's killed it every single episode this season that he's had
Yeah.
something. So Sean's back in the house talking to Ethan, who's pouring himself more alcohol. And Sean's like, you should really consider rehab. Like, I know a good facility. And Ethan's like, yeah, whatever. That had to have been hard for Sean to see, knowing everything that he's went through with his son. Um,
Hmm.
but I loved that, if anything, it was Sean, like, standing there and kind of telling him and like walking him through things. So Wesley
Yeah.
comes back in, says that the police are gone for now, but they'll be back with the warrant. So we see Lucy and Selena surveilling Ethan at night, and they call Angela, and Lucy's like, yep, well, your hunch was right. In less than an hour of us landing, he drove to a home improvement store, and we see him taking out a hacksaw and more tools and stuff to out of the trunk to bury a body. So Angela's like, great, I'll get the on-call judge to sign off on a warrant. And I just love how Wesley like pops around the corners and he's like, what's the warrant for? And she
Right.
pretends like she doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't really want to like, talk at all. And so she goes to leave and she closes the door on him. He's like, if you would tell me, like it would help me. And she's like, I know you want to know, but I'm not going to tell you.
Right.
I just love this couple. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're getting to season 9, of course, but like more
Hmm.
of this for them, please. Like Wesley as an ADA was great, but we really missed Wesley and Angela kind of going back and forth with the whole like DAs or defense attorney and everything.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I loved how as soon as she closes the door on him, he immediately calls Sean, telling him to meet, at Ethan's, and he's putting on his coat, getting ready to go when we hear the kids ask, or at least Jack had asked, what's for dinner? And Wesley's just like, crap, like I forgot. Someone has to be here with the kids while, we get a nanny to come or whatever. And so
Right.
he tells Sean, he's like, I'll be there when I can. And it's good that he's got Sean as a partner because like Sean can intervene like that. But
Yeah.
Wesley's like, who wants chicken nuggets? And Wesley's like, yep, on dad mode right now. But he ends up going over to the house, and just as he asks if they found anything, Lucy, Selena, and Angela all walk out of the house with Ethan, who's covered in blood. Because by the time Sean had got there, Angela already had the warrant.
Yep.
So Ethan swears that he's innocent, and Lucy's like, we literally caught you trying to bury the body. Like he's got blood all over him. And he's
Hmm.
like, yeah, I did that, but I didn't kill anyone. And so Wesley or Angela just gives Wesley a look and like walks away. And I'm like, oh, there's some angst here with them. There is. There is. So we see Wesley and Sean talking to Ethan at the station, and he mentions that Walter killed Daniel. So he tells them about how Walter said that he had a plan with a low risk and a big payoff. And the plan was to rent a party house and invite a fun crowd. And Daniel was a spot trader and bragged a lot about his fat Bitcoin wallet. And so he was supposed to get Ethan was supposed to get Daniel to have a good time, get him drunk, get him stoned, and then Walter was going to hit him with sodium pentothal, and that Daniel would give him his password. And so Ethan didn't stick around though for anything, mentioning that he's like been texting Walter all day with no response. And they break it to him and they're like, yeah, he set you up. And so Walter snuck into the house, left Daniel's body in the bathroom, and left town. And so they're talking about Ethan's options and what's going to be best for him, and kind of going into all that. So we don't really have any more about any of that, but we see Wesley and Sean at the end walking out of the station, and Wes is like, how do you feel about your first case as a defense attorney? And Sean's like, it was different. I used to think of the grieving families as clients, and now I'm defending a guy who chops up bodies. And
Hmm.
Wesley's like, they're not all as bad as Ethan, but they do pay less. And so Sean gets it though. Ethan's not a good guy, but when you're up against all of this, like pointing to the station, then you need someone completely on their side. Um, and so Wesley's like, yeah, and we keep them honest. And deep down, even Angela appreciates that. And so Wesley mentions that he's found a great office space and Sean's gonna love it. And Sean's like, as long as it's not in the strip mall. And I just loved how Wesley was like, well, you can't beat the convenience of a cell phone repair store and a boba shop, like on either side of you. Just like leave it to Wesley to find like the silver lining in things.
Right. It's like, why? But also, yes.
Yeah, yeah. But also, like, I'm so here for it. I'm here for everything with them. I hope
Yeah.
that whatever happens in the finale doesn't like affect them too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I want to see more of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was a really good like Wopez storyline to kind of probably end the season on. I mean, I don't know like what other Wopez stuff we're gonna have, but it
Mhm.
was good to kind of wrap things up with them. So.
Yeah. So next we have the Chenford of the episode. And um, well, Tim and Joy as well. Um, because yay, Tim's mom is back and for like a fun reason too.
Mhm.
So, which honestly though, I can't believe they like posted the like proposal part
You know.
of the well, so part of the proposal storyline as the sneak peek,
Hmm.
like later in the day on Monday, but that's okay. Um,
Yeah.
because there were still plenty of good like moments for this like shorter plot line. But anyway, so we have Chenford in the kitchen together. Lucy is telling Tim that Kojo made a new friend at the dog park and that she also said yes to an invite from a neighbor for like dinner. And Tim's like, yeah, okay, but if she starts talking about all these things, like we're making up an excuse and we're leaving.
Hmm.
Um, and Lucy's like making breakfast. But then she needs to like run and get a shower for like work and stuff. So she tells Tim to like, not let the eggs burn. And we see him say okay while like texting or looking at a text from his sister, Jenny. So,
Were you kind of
he's like,
hoping that we would see that text message?
yeah, I literally like paused my TV and like tried to see if I could see anything. And I was like, nope, can't.
Yeah, same.
Um, yeah, but I mean, judging by his like smile, it's like something good. And then obviously we know based on the next scene that was in the sneak peek what it kind of was. Because Joy stops by the station, surprising Tim, because she's watching Jenny's boys while she's in or at a conference in Vegas, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, and she stops by the station, surprising Tim with news of bringing his grandmother's ring because she knew that he wanted to propose to Lucy, thanks to like Jenny spilling that news. Um, and Tim kind of freaks out just a little bit though, because he's like kind of just surprised that she's there. Like, she um like pulls out the box and he's like, hold on. Um, and Joy asks if Lucy's there and she's not. Um, but he does wonder, like, does she just travel with their grandmother's ring
Hmm.
around all the time? But Joy wanted to be prepared because, Lucy's lovely and it's like, she, figured that, he would want to propose. Um, and Tim said, it's very sweet of her to bring the ring by, but he's got, a busy day, so they'll talk about it all like later at home. Um, but he does like take the box and like put the box in one of his like cabinet drawers in the office. And so it cuts over a little bit later. We see Tim telling Angela about potentially proposing, and Angela is like psyched for it. The ring, however, isn't so great. Um, According to Angela, it's gaudy, it's a little too purple, and it's like a monstrosity. Um, so yeah, definitely should not propose to Lucy
Hmm.
with that ring. Um, and when Tim shows Nyla the ring later, she echoes Angela's earlier sentiments. Basically, if Tim were to propose to Lucy with that ring, she would cry, but it wouldn't be tears of joy. So,
I
yeah,
loved how he was like, okay, so Angela wasn't being dramatic.
yeah, like he's such a guy.
Yeah.
He like
Also, I
doesn't
love
really
that
get
he's
it.
asking them, you know?
Right.
I was
Yeah.
kind of waiting for him to go and ask Gray too. Just just why not, you know?
That's so true. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really think the ring was that bad, although I do agree though. I mean, while I love the color purple, I don't want a purple engagement ring.
Yeah, same.
Like, and it was kind of like massive in like size and stuff. Like
Yeah.
as far as like the structure of it is not like too classic.
Yeah.
But
She wouldn't be
I
able
think
to
it was
wear it
like
to work, that's for sure.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
very true. Um, so Tim kind of found a loophole in telling Joy that the diamond in the ring was fake because he had it appraised. Um, but now we have to wait for like the, real deal Chenford proposal, maybe in the season finale. I don't know. People have like speculated that. Um, but it is nice though that he invited his mom to go like ring shopping with him so they can kind of pick it out. Um, And then Lucy comes home and asks, what did she miss? Just as Tim and his mom were finishing like their hug in excitement. And she just like looks back and forth between them, but doesn't get an answer or anything. So it's like where we leave off
Hmm.
there. Um, so yeah, it was just basically the episode. Like Tim was probably like that emoji that's like not like dizzy, but like spinning out, with
Yeah.
like the lines on the side and
Yeah.
it's like tilted, like I felt like that was
Yeah.
kind of him. Like the whole episode, just like trying to figure out what the heck am I gonna do? Am I actually gonna use this ring? Am I not gonna
Yeah.
use this ring? Yeah.
Yeah, he was
But
spiraling hard. I'm surprised that he didn't. ask more people, but I don't know who
Hmm.
else you would ask that would keep it a secret.
That's very
And
true.
I was kind of surprised that he didn't text Jenny a picture and be like, "This is grandma's ring." Like, I'm assuming that she knows what it looks like too, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I need to see Angela, Jenny, Mom Bradford, and Tim all going ring shopping together. I would love to
Yeah,
see
it'll be
that.
fun. Yeah.
Just because I would like to see everyone's different opinions. And I know Angela and Jenny would like click and be besties and like gang up on
Hmm.
Tim. You know,
Yeah.
like I could see him like picking out a ring that's not really Lucy's taste and them both being like, no, that's not the one, dude.
Yeah. Or could you
Yeah.
imagine if, like, since Angela would probably be like the best woman or whatever, like if she
Hmm.
could, like pick out her own outfit or whatever, and it'd be a whole
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I also just love how like how much we've grown and Tim Bradford's grown since season one. Like season one, he was this gruff, like mean, like closed off guy. And now like we're literally seeing him smile as Lucy walks away to go get ready for work and she's like, "Don't burn the eggs." And he's like, "Yeah, I got it." Like we're getting
Yeah.
domestic Tim Bradford.
Yeah.
And in
He's
season
so
one,
domesticated.
we couldn't even get him to open up about anything. Like it's just
Yeah.
so wild the change.
Hmm.
And like back in season one, the early seasons, we didn't know anything about his family. And like it's I mean now he like texts Jenny like on the regular. It's so crazy. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we got like a little bit more of that, like, work of like him,
Hmm.
getting to this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll take it because, like you said, it's more about his family. It's more
Yeah.
like the, togetherness and like the all different forms of love that he has in
Yeah.
his life now. So,
Yeah. Totally.
yeah.
I also just love how like him and his mom like they've worked past their stuff obviously in that last episode that she was in, but it seems like now like it's been so long, it still seems like they're in regular communication. Like they've really worked through whatever they had to deal with in the past.
Hmm.
And they've really like overcame everything. So it's
Yeah.
really good to see.
Yeah.
So last but not least, we have Monica and her ever-evolving scheme. At this point, I don't know where we started from and where we are now. Like, how did we get here? I'm confused.
I don't know because, like, I know that well, I know they put in like the preview that, she was talking to the person about the feds watching the phones or what, or,
Hmm.
that the server's not, um, you know, like they're listening.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm assuming that was like Sam who she was talking to when she said that.
Hmm.
Or like if it, eh, no, I still think it would have been Sam though, right? Because if he was like the right hand person or whatever,
Yeah.
as opposed to like Aiden, but like I don't really know because we hadn't heard either of these names until this episode. So
No.
like no, if that was supposed to be that like obvious of a, connect the dots,
Yeah.
like that's who she was talking to. But I don't know.
I don't know. It's just like, it's so confusing to me because I'm like, okay, like I tweeted it last night too. I was like, I feel like we need like a big whiteboard and like her in the middle. And it's one of those spider charts, I think that they call them in like elementary school, where it's just like Monica goes here and she goes here. And like, we just need
Like
all of
with the
that.
lines everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like maybe not even that, but like what do they call it? Like a family tree type of thing. But like all of the different things and like who's
Yeah.
connected with what and like what season it happened. Like yeah, it just
Yeah.
I'm
You want
like
to know who
I'm
could make one of
confused.
those though? Em could probably make one of those.
She probably could, yeah.
That would be great.
She probably could. And she would probably like do such a detailed job with that. I don't know. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
every time they bring in Monica, she's always got someone new that she's trying to scheme. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why can't we go back to like whoever else? Like, whatever
Yeah.
happened to them? You know?
Well, I just think it would have like made more sense had we heard these names before this episode.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't have been,
Yeah.
like I said, so much of a, oh, right, she was talking. I mean, I'm glad they put that in the previously on the rookie,
Yeah.
but still it was like, oh, okay, is this the person? Oh no, wait, it might be this person. Like,
Hmm.
who really knows?
I mean, they keep it interesting with her, that's for sure. So,
Yeah,
yeah. But after she gets off the phone with Wesley, she's talking to Sam, who wonders why he got a burner phone delivered to his door. And Monica wants a meeting with Aiden, and he's like, "That's not happening. You're a rat." And she's like, "No, I'm a double agent." Whatever you have to tell yourself, Monica, to like get some sleep at night. Like honestly, whatever you have to tell yourself, because who's believing that at this point? Which she is technically a double agent. Like she is playing both sides, but really, whose side is she working for
yeah,
her own gain, her own side?
yeah,
So she reminds him that she gave his boss a heads up that the FBI had access to the encrypted phone system and that she saved Sam and Aiden from certain prosecution. And so Sam's then like, well, technically it was me that gave Aiden a heads up, and you just need to play your game of quid pro quo somewhere else. Aiden's off limits. And so Monica walks up to Gray, telling him that she has a gift for him. Well, actually, for the task force. And she's like, I was hoping to get paid a little extra. And he's like, there's the catch. I knew that was gonna come. And she brings up Aiden Warner, mentioning that the FBI has been chasing him for a decade, and she heard that his right-hand man, Sam Warwick, is looking for a way out. So she tells Gray, like, if he makes the right approach, Sam will flip on his boss, and he needs to move quick. So Gray can see right through her, and he's like, what are you looking to get out of this? And she's like, we have this Gen Z mention with 6'7", and she's like, I was thinking six figures, maybe seven. And she like does it with her hands too, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I get why the 6'7" mention was needed, right? Like Gen Z, the show's popular with Gen Z, but like,
yeah.
really? I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
just because like I thought they already tried to make that joke like earlier, not in the same episode, but different
Yeah,
episodes. I'm like, why do we gotta do it again? Like Gen Z
yeah,
comes up with a new thing like every other
right,
day.
right. And also, like, no one understands 6'7". Not even the Gen Zs that say it. So, like, why? Why are we using it? And
Fair.
so Grace starts laughing. I just love Grace's laugh, like Richard's laugh.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And he's
Well,
like,
and like
that's,
when she came in and he was like, she was like, I have a gift for you. He's like, oh no.
yeah, yeah,
Like he was not having it at all.
yeah, yeah. I hope it's season 9 that we see Gray more, but I'm happy with how much we have seen him this season.
Hmm.
Like for him kind of stepping back more.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I hope that we get to see him a little bit more in season 9. But I also don't want Tim and Lucy to like lose their positions. So I just want like a happy medium of it, but also still bring
Yeah.
in Garza because I love seeing Gray and Garza together too. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so Gray starts laughing and he's like, well, that's Garza's conversation to have. And so Gray assumes that she had this point of view for how he should make contact. And she's like, I do. We don't hear any of it though. We just see Gray finding where Sam is sitting at like this like outdoor restaurant or something. And he sits down across from him, doesn't introduce himself, nothing. And Sam's like, I don't want to hear what you're selling. And Gray mentions that Monica, said that he wants a way out, and Sam immediately denies knowing what he's talking about and walks away. So as Monica's waiting for Aiden, she sees the footage of Sam meeting with Gray and she shows that to Aiden. And so then Sam pulls up and, is like, whatever Monica's telling you is a lie. And so Aiden questions how Sam knew about the encrypted phones. And he's like, well, Monica told me. And then he's shot twice, and Monica is threatened to be killed as well. But she ends up talking her way out of it, because she always does. And she's looking for an exit package, saying it's a one-time payment, and if she gets that, she'll get the FBI to target anyone that he wants so that he can clear the field of his rivals and so that he can corner the market. So part of me is like, it's not a one-time deal with Monica though. Like, yeah, she'll leave him alone, but like she's
Hmm.
not gonna stop working with the FBI because it only benefits her. Like she's only
Very
looking out for
true.
herself. Um,
Very true. Good point.
so at the end of the episode, we see her walk up to her car, which side note, did you notice the car that Miles was driving Glasser around in, it was a Ford, but like the emblem thing on the front was taken off.
Oh, really? No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. But then the car that Monica's driving, at least in the opener and I would think the end scene too, is a Ford as well, but that has the emblem in it. At least the one
Huh.
in the beginning did.
Huh.
I was like, interesting. Okay. And so Monica walks up to her car, sees a note that just says Cooper Johnson on it, and that's it.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, where do we go from here? Because we see some of it in the promo, like
Yeah.
she's causing trouble, wreaking havoc, like on the run.
Right.
But like now we have another name and we don't know who this is. So
Yeah.
now what?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me. It
Yeah.
really
Well,
is.
I do think it's crazy that like within the span of a few minutes, based on her literal setup of Sam, like he's down. Like
Yeah.
he's gone. He's done away with just based on what Monica says.
Yeah.
And it's like she literally orchestrated the whole thing. And it's like when he was like, it's a setup, and she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, no, it literally is though. You we just saw it on
Right.
screen, like happening step by step. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if she's just gonna like keep pulling like because she kind of like pulled Gray along for the ride a little bit too,
Yeah.
because nothing ended up happening with the meet with Sam. So I'm like, is she just gonna keep like pulling strings of different people and it's like somehow gonna all work out for her, or is she actually gonna get caught this time
Right.
or in the next episode?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just all the Monica stuff, like I like her and I like what she brings. She's definitely a really interesting baddie, but I'm also like, okay, can we like rein it in a little bit here? Because it
Yeah.
gets confusing. So,
Yeah. Well, I just need to know like how, because it's obviously gonna come back around to like affect the team or like some people. So I'm waiting for that to kind of
hmm.
hit home a little more, even though I don't want anything to happen like
Yeah.
bad for the team, but like I just want the connections to kind of come like inward and not be like, oh, it's this person. Oh, we've never heard of this person. Oh, wait, it's this person.
Right.
We've never heard of them either. But
Yeah.
maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, it
Um,
would be nice to have that, at least somewhat, you
yeah.
know. I was kind of waiting for her to tell Wesley, like, either sarcastically, sassy, whatever, like, I'm sorry it didn't work out for the 88 race, but maybe
Mm,
like it's just better that you're not, or whatever. Like, I was kind of
mhm,
waiting for her to say something like that because she helped him with that video, but
mm, mhm.
maybe she's turned over a new leaf with that. So,
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's about it for this episode.
Yeah. Well, on that note, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod underscore, or you can email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts about the episode. And you guys can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at Kari Hyman.
And I'm at jstark804.
We are on TikTok at the Shop Talk Podcast underscore, and we have a merch sale till the end of the day, Wednesday at shop-talk.dashery.com. So check that out too if you're interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we will be back next week with our recap of 817. So one more episode, then it'll be finale time before we know it.
Hmm. Yeah, next
So
week's like the penultimate. So,
yeah,
yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy that like all of the fall TV is coming to an end again. Like it just
Hmm.
goes by so fast. But when you have the Olympics in there, fall,
Hmm.
like holidays, all that, it goes by quick.
Hmm.
So, and the
Yeah, it
rookie
does.
was like literally 18 weeks straight. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have a fun hiatus episode planned, but not for a little bit because yeah, we need a break.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Just a bit, just a smidge. So yeah. So
But
yeah.
yeah, we will
But
talk to you guys later.
yeah. Bye everyone.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.